Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
So remember when everyone was like, Warren Buffett has lost it and he no longer has his edge in the market? Well, it looks like his portfolio is doing pretty damn well. So let's walk through the companies that he currently owns the biggest shares of for his portfolio. Number one, Apple, my baby. We've talked about this on ad nauseum. Great. Apple is absolutely amazing. Let's go to Bank of America. Pretty solid company, but definitely during times of a recession, and especially if the interest rate environment is a little bit higher, the top 2 or 3 banks are really good investments to make. And I'll tell you about a special bank that he's invested in that you guys are pretty familiar with, that you've heard us talk about a lot as well. Number 3 in this portfolio is American Express. So it's at 159 and some change right now. In 2020, it got down to $67. And the reason why American Express hasn't dropped a lot is because of the type of customer base that they have. Do I like them long term? Yes. Do I still like Visa? Yes. But if I had to pick during a recession-like environment, kind of we're in now, I would definitely lean on American Express. Next, Coca-Cola. You would be surprised. And I know some people are going to be like, it's not healthy. He's selling diabetes. Dr. Sebi wouldn't agree. I know. We haven't found a way yet to get CBOS publicly traded, right? But if we look at the overall value of Coca-Cola this year, it hasn't really fallen that much. The high was 67, is currently at $62.86. Barely has had any drawdown. Sometimes the stocks that are safest are usually the most boring. But put in chat, we are here for safety and consistent gains over sensationalism, right? Let's go to Moody's, one that I gave you guys a few years ago. Moody's is falling down some. I do like Moody's if it gets to $200 or like 201. That is the area I would be pretty confident in for sure. And if for those of you that are using technicals, if you use a 200-day moving average, that'll give you a good price to be able to get in as well. Let's get USB. US Bank Corp. So it went from 63 down to 50. We're at 50.75 right now. Not the biggest drop, not the biggest gainers, but it does give you a little bit of safety. So when you're in a recession, you want stocks that are not going to bleed down a lot. So if you look at VOO went from 411 to 364. Not that bad. Like if you look in comparison to, let's pick on Peloton. I love you guys. Peloton went from 171 down to currently at $13.62. We never want to see a chart look like this. That's in our portfolio, right? Back to Buffett's portfolio. Verizon. It's been falling down. This one I don't like. So my rule, if it has not made a high within the last year, I don't want to touch it. Verizon last high was 2019. No, I don't like that one. Now, if he's been in it for years, I totally understand why he's holding it, but I personally would not touch that one and or add it. Boyd Gaming, not bad, $72. It's at $54.75 right now. Let's look at Cvx Chevron. Chevron is doing incredibly well. And I want you guys to go do the research tonight, especially for those of you in Red Panda. How much does energy stocks on average tend to go up when we have a recession? The energy sector has done incredibly well. And I would look for oil-based company. I wouldn't first, then I would go natural gas. I would lean very heavy on oil. These companies have done incredibly well. But if you look, Chevron at the start of the year was at 116, is now at 171. It is moving up like tech stocks did last year. And I said before last week, before the technology sector took over, energy was the tech industry for a long period of time. So I'm not surprised. And also, anytime that the energy market has doubled in 1 year, it usually leads to a recession. So please be mindful of that. And of course, our beloved LI. The high was at 56.61. It's at 40.39. Like Troy said, the last couple of weeks, they've been advertising like crazy, treat their customer base very well. And the very interesting part is they have not drawn down a lot. There's a lot of upside here in Ally. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor of the show. I only endorse things that I actually love, have used, and that are dear to my heart. So Apple, Bank of America, American Express, Coca-Cola, Moody's, Boyd Gaming, Chevron, and Ally are a couple stocks out of Warren's portfolio that I love. Which of these would you personally add to your portfolio? And for those of you that have been following the plan with futures and who intend to invest fast, please get your tickets because trust me, the segment that we have lined up when I hop on stage, the entire weekend is going to be great. You guys are going to be, I wish I can say the lineup. I do. Troy, Rashad, I'm not. Mike, I'm not. Jamal, I'm not. Bam, I'm not, but I want to. Blockbuster, for sure. But for those of you who remember the targets from last year at InvestFest, which have worked incredibly well, especially to the downside, right? I'm proud of you guys. So if you would have traded 15 contracts recently, and let's say you got 800 ticks or 800 points on the Dow or NASDAQ, that would have been $60,000 in one trade. And for those of you that were able to hit Dow and NASDAQ, 120 gross. Is it not worth it to be able, is it not worth it to take the time to practice for 6 months, 8 months, to now be able to hit that kind of target in this market when everyone else is panicking? And this generation, this era, for whatever reason, people do not want to take the slow path to greatness. You cannot rush greatness. No matter how much you try and speed it up, the process is the process. But for those of you who have actually went through your 300 trades and you were incredibly disciplined and you followed direction, I'm proud of you. If you have not been disciplined, this is the time now that you can say, I'm never going to be in this situation again. For me in 2008, when I missed out on all of that money because I too wanted one big win. And there is no such thing as one big win. But I wanted it. And when I missed my opportunity, I said, man, never again in life will these moves, recessions, breakdowns happen, and I don't know what to do. Some of you want exceptional, world-changing results and gains from having mediocre or subpar skill sets. And life doesn't work that way. Trust me, I tried to find every shortcut, every hack, every tool, system, anything to give me an edge so I can just one home run. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. The more you practice properly, the more profit you'll end up having. Please put that in chat. The more practice you have properly, the more profit you'll end up having. Let's take a look at a couple things in a second, but I do want to say this. In a previous video that I sent to Stock Club, I asked at the end of the first year of Market Mondays, like, hey, what could I have done better to make you guys or induce you guys to actually invest? And a couple of you gave some great suggestions. You know, why not have people share their portfolio every week and contests and quizzes and all of that. But the truth is, there's nothing I can do to make you invest. I truly believe this is the greatest investing show ever created. I don't know any other that has been able to guide you through stocks, what to avoid, tell you about UFOs and pterodactyls, right? And tell you the prices to get in and they actually hit and work, right? But if you don't feel that you're worthy, and that's why at every event, I always start with, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be wealthy. I deserve to be rich. I deserve to be free. You have to believe that first before any actions are taken. I was sharing this with Christy earlier, and I was like, hey, I know sometimes when we get into a zone, we often like want to chase that high of that achievement, but most success should feel boring if you do it consistently enough. And the thing that causes a lot of anxiety for entrepreneurs and investors alike is that you don't have a plan. When I met with some of you in LA, I told you guys, I'm like, you guys can, at this point, write Market Mondays for me, especially the long-term investing thesis of 2 Tech 2 Index, right? But the anxiety comes from not having a plan, not sticking to it, And the reason why most people don't is because they truly don't believe that they're worthy. How many of you actually believe that you are worthy of $5, $10, $15 million per month, $100 million in a year, $2.9 billion in your lifetime, 15.8, 32.6 billion for your family for the next 2 or 3 generations? T. Harv Eker has an interesting quote: your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, and that's so true. And the more work we do on the inside is what allows us to have the consistency, the preparation, and then the execution on the outside to make these dreams come true. So I'm begging you, make a plan and stick to it because you're worthy of it. And some of you have all the information you've ever needed in the market, but the only thing that is stopping you from getting you to where you want to be is healing some of the childhood or early teenage traumas of you being told that you're not worthy.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Your boy going up. I know they can't stand it.